You're listening to the Rebel Scum podcast.
You are always scum.
Rebel Scum.
From odds making to list rankings, we've got you covered. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
James, how are you feeling?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
This is a fun time.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to be watching a lot of our those Netflix wish lists that we want to watch. So I've been staying home.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to hang out.
That's me too. Like, I've made plans and everybody's like, nah.
Yeah. But like, to get past that, like, obviously, I don't know if you heard, the world was canceled. But anyways, last night I was watching Clue with.
Well, we should preface that by saying last night, as of this recording,
right.
More than last night if you're watching this live Wednesday.
Friday night of last week, I was watching Clue, and I didn't realize. Oh God, what's his name?
Tim Curry.
Who's Doc Brown in Back to the Future?
Christopher Lloyd.
There we
Professor
go.
Plum, my favorite Clue character, the purple piece.
Yeah. Christopher Lloyd's in this. I'm like, man, this is awesome. And it made me think of, and you know what? It made me think of one of my favorite movies as a kid, Camp Nowhere, where he is like the pretend camp counselor, or like the kids buy a camp and pretend they're at other camps. Do you remember this movie at all?
I do. I absolutely do. Those like early 90s like heavyweights, Camp Nowhere.
Oh yeah, because after I finished Camp Nowhere, Heavyweights was the suggestion.
Of course it was.
I've already watched. Fantastic film.
Ben Stiller.
Oh,
at
early
his
Ben
best.
Stiller.
Yeah.
But anyways, the reason I watch. Oh, and it's also like that's like a Judd Apatow, like one of his first like directorial or whatever films. Heavyweights. But anyways, the reason I went from Clue to Camp Nowhere, because yes, I did watch it Friday night, was I was like, man, sometimes I forget that Christopher Lloyd's hair is like, brown. Now it's gray, but like, so well, it made me think of that. And now you're asking yourself, Brock, why are you telling us these random movies you watched Friday night on a Star Wars podcast? When I was watching Camp Nowhere, Kate Mulgrew was the mother of one of the children. I think it was the blonde girl. And this is like 90s Kate Mulgrew. I don't think she's got she hasn't been put in Star Trek.
Not yet. This is actually what got her in Star Trek. This is what
which one is she on?
Voyager. But this is the one Voyager. But this is what got her that role. Voyager.
Anyways, my whole point of bringing this around is like, I looked at her and I'm like, wow, she kind of looks like Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And the more I thought about it, she kind of sounds like Carrie Fisher. Even kind of now, though, like she's been mostly on Orange is the New Black doing a Russian accent. Just saying, I don't think we're going to revisit the Leia character in live action. She could arguably be a very good replacement. And now you hear suddenly the internet losing their collective mind.
I have to inform you, Brock, that our good friend Sheldon Norton, who did the documentary When the Galaxy Listens, which is about the podcast Rebel Force Radio. Right. And on the host of Rebel Force Radio, there are two of them. And one of them, Jason Swank, Sheldon informed me for many, many years that he believed that they were ever to recast Leia, that it should be Kate Mulgrew. He has been an advocate of that forever. So you are not alone in that. Although the internet might still want to destroy you, but you're not alone in that sentiment. So. Just had to point that out. She. Well, now I'm gonna watch Camp Nowhere, and I'll get back to you because we have time. I might do a video on Camp Nowhere, kind of associated with Star Wars. Well, if you're ever going to recast Star Wars, look to the film Camp Nowhere. Christopher Lloyd could play an old Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Andrew Keegan could be Kylo Ren.
Oh my God!
Andrew Keegan. Yeah,
he like a more adult Kylo Ren now. Like, what would he? I'm not quite sure what he would be. So, Rise of Skywalker, Brock, the digital copy, to everyone's surprise, dropped Friday night. They were like, I think somebody at Disney was just like, well, coronavirus is shutting us all down. Put up everything we have. And you have something in the news about it, but they threw up.
Yeah.
I was Andrew's That's So Wizard podcast. We kind of laid out things to watch and binge while you are isolated in your home during coronavirus went up, and we were all kind of talking. And while it's happening, I get a notification saying your pre-order of Rise of Skywalker is now available, which is awesome. I put it on. I watched some of it. There's a 2-hour documentary which I review on a Scavenger Scum, which I think was on Tuesday night. The Scavenger Scum on Tuesday, number 12. It's 2 hours, Brock. This documentary is called the Skywalker Saga or something. It's 2 hours long, and it's the entire journey. And the coolest thing is I won't give any spoilers here, but the opening news clip is from I believe the filming of Return of the Jedi, and it's this group of 5 fans standing over a miniature of Tatooine, and they're like, "That's Tatooine," and one of them says, "Yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys got when all 9 of these are done." It's way back Return of the Jedi, people were anticipating 9 Star Wars films. And they didn't realize it would take them 15 years to get Phantom Menace after that, probably, even more from the time of that recording. And then 10 years after the ending of that trilogy to get a whole new group of storytellers in there to bring up the next 3 to complete the 9-part arc, which, it's a fun documentary. If you have the digital copy, I recommend watching it. I mean, it's there. There is because we talked about this a little bit, Brock. It's called a digital exclusive, and I haven't watched it as of this recording, so probably by the time this goes up, I will have watched it. But it's all on John Williams, and I haven't watched, like I said, I haven't watched it yet. But what it looked like was what we got in front of The Last Jedi about John Williams, but for the Rise of Skywalker. So whether that'll be available anywhere else other than your digital purchase, I don't know. Disney Plus, I don't know. But anyway, that's Rise of Skywalker. It was kind of exciting to get it 4 or 5 days early. Weird, because I was going to watch it with some family, but I was like, screw it, I'm watching it alone and then with family. I'll do it all in all. And yeah, man, everyone's from home. Everyone's wants some content. That's what we're going to be here, giving you as much as we can, as much fun stuff as we can to kind of give you some escapism and entertainment. Brock, what's that shirt? Where'd you get that shirt? Target?
Yeah. No, JCPenney.
Oh, somewhere you can't go for a while.
Yeah.
Hey, if I order a product off of America, will it come to me?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
I don't know. Have they said anything about shipping stuff back and forth? Because is there any concern that something in the States or overseas will carry some kind of virus? I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know. I'm thinking now, and not that I was buying anything off of an American site because I can't afford that shipping, but I know it's a curious time, but we are here for you. Brock has some time off. I have some time off. Andrew is the coronavirus.
Yeah, he is. Let's make Andrew Corona again. This is the Rebel Scum podcast. I am Brock. This is
James, episode 161.
Wow.
Who would have thought in 161 it would actually make sense for us to Skype each other? It took 161 weeks, but we finally were like, there's a reason.
Wait a second. Wait, back up. I have been friends with you for almost a decade, I think. I believe.
Yeah.
So are you saying that if you lived in the same city as me, you would not come over to my house or invite me over to yours?
I guess it would all depend on the health. It would depend on the health of my wife.
Oh, yeah. My wife.
Because if I touch anything that might have corona, it might be bad.
Interesting.
And actually, your roommate Daryl is not there right now. So actually, I probably could go because...
Wait a second. This is a sitcom. 7 friends have a party. A virus breaks out. Then they're forced to live in a house for a full month. What happens?
Oh my gosh, that's a Netflix.
It's basically Big Brother. Actually, Big Brother Canada is happening right now, and I haven't watched anything. And I'm very curious what they're doing about that, because these people are technically been in isolation for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So they're already. It would be interesting, like that. That's a movie right there. Yeah. Outbreak breaks out. These people are locked in a reality show,
and they have no idea.
They break out, and they at the end it's like the world is like gone away, and they're like, "What do we do now?
What's happening?" I would watch that. Survivor, next season of Survivor has been postponed because they usually record the show between March and July, and that's not happening. Yeah. But Big Brother, power's on. They're in a house. They're good. Like you said, they're all in. Who knows how the crew is, but everybody else is fine.
I've heard like those shows where like you're stuck in one spot like that, like a fake house in a warehouse / like studio. That thing starts to reek because like these people just like sit around all day, and sometimes they're clean, sometimes they're not. So it's like it's probably a freaking petri dish.
That's probably where this whole thing started. Like, can you imagine that they're in that like warehouse, and the day like before they start shooting the next episode or whatever, the next day shoot, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna shut down. Everybody's working from home. We won't be recording the show." But no one tells the talent. No one tells the contestants on the show, and they're just like waiting in there, like there must be cameras in the wall. No one knows what's happening. Do you think Star Wars could ever do like a false reality style show? Like
maybe
the daily exploits of Kylo.
Hotel coming out where it's like you're on a ship. I don't think it's opened yet, right?
Nothing's open now.
Well, yeah, no, nothing open now.
Disneyland and World are closed.
That would be interesting. It would I think it's doable because you could just put them in a set of some sort, but I don't know.
Look, man, I tweeted out, I think on Monday or Tuesday last week, I was like, now's the time, just drop all your streaming content, just whatever you got. Disney seems to like be listening to that, but literally, like if you've got something like this is going to be released in June and it's ready to go now, or you can make it ready to go in like a week, get that out there, because you are going to gain subscribers and eyeballs on you right now.
Yeah, like they canceled South by Southwest, which is like concert innovation conference. They do a bunch of movies and they're like comedies and stuff. Why aren't they just live streaming that stuff?
Literally make a South by Southwest app and throw it all on there, and then you watch it.
I would love to go to that.
And then everybody in the world could be a part of it. You pay like $20, $10, whatever it is, right? Yeah. $100, who cares? Or it's a subscription base. The app is free and everything, you pay monthly. Yeah. But then it doesn't have the live feel, sure, but nobody's asking for that. Everybody's safe, and everything gets the exposure, maybe more exposure, right? So, that's Emerald City Comic Con is August.
Oh, I thought they were canceling it altogether.
So let me pull it up.
Toronto Comic Con got canceled yesterday.
Yeah, and then they said we'll just like wait for Fan Expo, so there's no rescheduling there. Yeah. Which makes sense, like if you have it. But Emerald City Comics. So a few things that have been canceled have been rescheduled for August, which we had a video on Monday where we talked about Star Wars Celebration. But this, for me, kind of bodes well for Celebration. For now. For now. I mean, we don't know where the world will be in next week, let alone like by the time this goes up, there might not even be the internet. The way things are going. Let me just give me a second here.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, please like and subscribe. August 2020. Do they have dates for August 20 for Emerald City Comic Con? So it's curious though, because I got an email from EB Games with all the Emerald City Comic Con exclusives. Will those? Am I still gonna be able to get them, or?
Yeah, no, they've been dropping those because
they're still out. All right, reschedule for August. First fans exchanges or refunds. 5 months. So I guess there's no dates for it yet. Oh, August 21st to 23rd, the week before Celebration. So, wow. And then I think Celebration is the same weekend as Toronto Fan Expo, which is weird. Like, why push it? But anyway, so yeah, good news that things are thinking about coming back. Hopefully this is all settled. I've heard rumors, because I know a lot of doctors, I don't, that are saying, how this is going. I'm keeping my ear to the ground because it affects everybody. But we're not here to talk about that, Brock. We're here to talk about fun Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So...
As I rub my eye like I'm not supposed.
I chew. This is why I didn't come over to do this. This is why we are Skyping. Nice. We should have a thing of Purell here. This is how you wash your hands. You got to go all the way down like that. Like I'm seeing all these posts about how to wash hands. Like, has nobody cleaned themselves in the last 100 years? Barbarians. All right. Star Wars has... in the novelization, apparently, I believe there's a comic about this too, but they've kind of shown what happens to Rey Skywalker when, after she buries the lightsabers and has that conversation with that nice old lady holding that animal. That should have been a dewback. Just joking. Didn't need to be a dewback. So anyway, Brock, apparently what happens is she says something, walks over to the Falcon. BB-8 comes out of the Falcon, goes, wow, wow, indicating that BB-8 has had enough of the sand planets. Much like many a fan, BB-8 does not want to see a sand planet ever again. And then they both go and they stare at the sunrise. And they both look out and stare at the sunrise, and that's how it kind of ends. So it kind of establishes that Rey will not be staying on Tatooine. Did you ever think that Rey was doomed to live a life on Tatooine with Watto?
Not even remotely. That scene where they walk into the sunset, maybe that's just a film storytelling trope, or well, I guess it's more film because it's like if you're reading it, you wouldn't really see it. But that walking into the sunrise, as we're always like, is it sunset, sunrise? It means new beginnings. You're walking into the future as it's beginning. I think I've said it before. Them going into the sunrise, it's like, yes, I want more adventures of Rey and BB-8. Screw the rest of the cast. That's all I want to know. So no, I don't think remotely, because it's just sort of like she has no attachment to Tatooine outside of like symbolically she's going to bury these lightsabers where the story began.
Yeah, see, that's something that people I've been noticing have had a problem with. Like, why Tatooine? Why not Naboo? Because, look, we all love Naboo and associate everything with Naboo. But Luke Skywalker and Leia, theatrically, have never mentioned Naboo. For all we know, they don't know that their mother was from Naboo. I'm guessing because of the Force now they do. But they have no connection to Naboo. There's a connection to Tatooine. Luke is from Tatooine. Alderaan blew up. You can't go to Alderaan to bury Leia's lightsaber. So they bury it with her brother on her brother's homestead. Did he want to leave it? Yes, but I don't know if it was necessarily because of the homestead itself that Luke hated, or the life that he was leading. He knew that he was destined for something else. That was still where he was from. He even says it to Han Solo. I was born here.
Yeah, like it's the planet that like a lot of stuff reoccurs at, and also it's where R2 plays the message of help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So Luke seeing Leia for the first time happens in that exact spot. So, and arguably, if we go to the Last Jedi novelization, if the droids run away and Luke doesn't go with them, the whole story changes. So like that happened right there, and whatever. Like if we go for these details, then like it's a nightmare, because like do I wish they had gone to Naboo in some form? Sure.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
But actually, I completely forgot about this comic. Darth Vader #2 is apparently out, and there's a huge. I mean, one of the reveals is that Padme is just there. So like Padme played a big role in the second issue. I haven't read it, and I'm like, ooh. So it's like if you need your Naboo taste, go read Darth Vader right now. So
yeah, I think, look, I wanted to see Naboo. Obviously, there's a lot of planets I wanted to see, but it just in the world of the movies, Tatooine makes the most sense. And that's just how it. And if you're going to satisfy fans, I'm sorry it didn't satisfy these diehard fans who take everything super serious, but that's just the way it is. Yeah. And if you didn't like it, that's fine. But I think they made the right choice on Tatooine. It just to me, it just going into it, I think we all kind of thought it was going to end somewhere around Tatooine, because how do you have this movie without where this whole thing started? It just didn't, like, if you're going to end it, that was the one thing I thought they were going to definitely focus on, was Tatooine. The other thing people have a problem with is, I think it was Terrio in the documentary says that this has always been a story about the Palpatines and the Skywalkers. And everybody points out how the original trilogy is not really about Palpatine. And I agree with that. Yes, that's true. At the beginning, I don't think it was ever planned to be about Palpatine and Skywalker. No. But by the time the prequels come out, it is, I think, severely evident that this is a story about these two bloodlines and how they are connected to each other to some level, how Palpatine will manipulate Skywalker, and who knows how the Force reacts with that. But so for me, I personally believe that quote is fine and logical when you're telling a 9-part story that, when you take them numerically, begins with Palpatine keeping an eye on Skywalker.
Yeah. And it's like, if this series had just gone like New Hope is number 1 and then onward, like, obviously the prequels, like, story-wise makes sense that it's 1, 2, 3, but like, think about it, like, if we had any other series, like, think of Fast and the Furious. They made a movie, they basically made, was it Point Break with cars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They just made it because they're like, here's some hot people and they're driving cars. So they made that and it was successful. Do you think at any point they were like, we're going to go to 9 of these movies, have 2 characters spin off that we don't even know who they are at this point? Yeah. I don't even think, like, The Rock was around, but he wasn't. He was still a wrestler. Was Jason Statham even present? Jason Statham comes out of sort of like that era of like, let's drive a fast car and shoot.
I think Jason was just hitting it when that movie came out, when the first.
So it's just like, you gotta look at it this way. Like, I love George Lucas. He's great. He is great, but he had no clue what he was initially doing when he started. So it's like, you can't be like, it's all a master plan. Like, no, it like, a story evolves over time. Mm-hmm. New people come in and have new ideas. Like, this is how it works. So it's just like, yeah, it's not ideal, but like, no one, if you said to George Lucas like 30 years ago, it's like, oh, you're gonna sell this off and someone's gonna make your own Star Wars movies, he'd be like, ha, over my dead.
Yeah, not gonna happen. No.
So like, I think Tatooine is fine because it's sort of like, we don't know what happened. We don't know where Luke and Leia live in between Jedi and Force Awakens. Like, obviously, Leia was on Hosnian Prime because we read that in Bloodlines, and then like Luke's starting this academy. Like, do we know where that thing? I can't even think in Rise of Kylo Ren.
I don't think I know.
But like, if we'd seen that, then maybe perhaps Rey returning to this location of this Jedi Academy to put him makes sense. But like, burying it in the sand in this endless desert makes the most sense because it's like, we're putting it here. You could find it if you look hard enough, but like, we're gonna put it here, and we're putting it to rest. The end.
Yeah.
Sort of thing for the whole saga.
Yeah, the Skywalker saga starts here and it ends here, and that's that.
Yeah.
That's why I agree. I think I'm okay with it. I don't know. I don't have any problem with it. I know people have problems with certain things, and like I said, you don't have to like the movie. I just think, as Star Wars fans, for some reason, we're obsessed with nitpicking details in these movies, and it's like, why are we nitpick? Why can't we just sit back and enjoy it? Like, she buries Luke and Leia's lightsaber together on the Lars homestead. Maybe the only thing I'm hoping is in the Obi-Wan series that Owen Lars is not a massive jerk, because then it's like, well, maybe.
Here's one thing that could be semi better ending. Rey is in deep space in. Maybe not I guess the Falcon, because she has no connection to any other ship. Like, I don't even think, is she ever in a small fighter? No. But it was like, if she had like, oh wait, she'd get in Luke's X-Wing. Say she flies Luke's X-Wing out into deep space with BB-8. And she's got the spacesuit out so she can sort of go out into space. And she has both lightsabers, and then through the Force disassembles them and then shoots them out into space. Like, that would be kind of neat, but like, again, it's like, it's not really that different.
But then nobody can find them in a few years from now.
Yeah, which I suggest that should be the case.
I agree. I totally agree. Rey could be the Obi-Wan type, and these two, somebody can find these sabers and not know what they are or what to do with them. That's what I want from. I've said that before. That's kind of what I want. But nobody cares what I want. It's all about what Star Wars wants, and I have faith in whatever they bring me. Yeah. Because I like Star Wars, and I'm going to continue to like it, and I might not like them all because there's so many of them, so that's okay. But if you're a fan of Star Wars, sometimes you just have to sit back and enjoy it, and I know a lot of people that had problems with Rise of Skywalker going to do their own fan fiction. That's awesome. You should continue to do that, because that's what Star Wars is all about, just having fun and enjoying the world where it all lives in. That world seems a lot less fearful than our world right now. I think I would prefer someone force choking me than what's going on outside. Anyway, you want to go to the odds?
Sure, let's do it.
Never tell me the odds. Today's odds are brought to us by Patreon.
Patreon. You think by now I would remember to always have my email open with the list? I should copy onto it.
So if you want to join us at Patreon,
I can probably say most of the names.
Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. You'll find us there. Exclusive content, including cloning around, which you are doing with Andrew. Because you've been watching Clone Wars like a mofo. And he that's all he does is watch Clone Wars. All right. Our Patreon subscribers are
executive producer Heidi Feder, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Aaron Quinton, Al Schuler, Phil Staniforth, Janet Rubio, Rachel Alford, Austin Schur, Scott D, Andy Higgins, Josh Price, Mason Hope,
Matt W, Rez Rural Farm Boy, Frank Perkins, Sooner Thrawn, Neil Lowry, D Raven Spencer, Gleek Play 1, Kayla Davis, Automata Joy, Charlotte Mariah Weekland, Jared Cocaine, Girls with Sabers, and Den Nerds. You know what? He's not. The thing with the Den of Nerds that people don't understand is, see, Girls with Sabers. I think they actually own sabers, but the Den of Nerds, he's not even in a den. He's not.
He doesn't even know Den Allen.
No, he's not even a real nerd. It's all for show. All for show. Never tell me the odds. Thank you, Patreon. Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. Thank you for all your support over the years now. 2.5 years of Patreon. Thank you all for supporting us. Here we go. First off, the odds of Star Wars Celebration Anaheim 2020 being canceled.
0%.
Oh, wow. 0. That is, wow. Definitive.
If we are locking ourselves down for 2 to maybe 4 weeks, I think we can kill this. We live in a world where like it's still, I think some people will critique how we've gone about this, but in the space of a week, it went from like, oh, this is kind of an issue to like, lock yourself down. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be positive.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like, what is it? It's March now.
Yeah, it's a long. I mean, Emerald City Comic Con just rescheduled for the week before Celebration. Right.
Oh, really? What you gonna do?
So I think, look, for me, it's weird. I will say this though, Brock, is the way that our country is handling it versus another country out there is a little bit different. We're in isolation, and a lot of schools, like I know there are states that are really taking it like seriously and full lockdown and stuff like that. But I've talked to a lot of friends who are being told they have to still go to work. That's it. No, you're coming in, and they don't care.
I think it'll be fine by August, but I think the world we live in August is going to be profoundly different from the world we live in now.
Vastly different. I think we're going to see a lot of people who are working from home these next few weeks will be staying from their house, if not permanently, multiple times a week, which the world was going in that direction anyway. I'm going to go 23.7%. You got to think by August this thing will be on a huge decline, because even if this doesn't peak, let's say for another 2 months, That brings us in May, mid-May, late May. And then that gives you 3 months, 2 months after that to get to August, because it's the end of August, right? So you have all that time. If this doesn't look like it's ever going to resolve by July, they'll cancel. But I can't see that happening because I think, look, no matter how anybody is treating this right now, if it ever gets worse, everyone will go on lockdown like Italy, and we'll all be singing from our balconies to each other. Like, that's just how it is. I will say, though, this was one of the first times I was like, well, glad I'm not living in an apartment right now. I was like, phew. Especially
how quickly would you guys go crazy if you're still living in
the apartment? And then, like, you know, when you live in an apartment, there's a lot of really cool people and a lot of really gross people. Yeah. And, you know, you're in an elevator with people, like, and you're like, yeah, you're not clean. So, I'm glad now it's just me and like 6 Blue Jays outside my window, Brock, to make up for lack of baseball. 6 Blue Jays outside. Yeah. Cool. There was a really there was a really big fat Blue Jay during Family Day weekend. And your roommate Daryl's like, look, it was so fat. And I was like, that is the biggest Blue Jay I've ever seen. I'm confident it gave birth to 3 or 4, because there was only 3. Now there's 3 more.
Oh, I see.
So I'm thinking it gave birth, because the big one's not there anymore. They're all there's one that's bigger, but they're all small. They're all regular size. So I think
that's like the one thing for all of our American listeners and viewers. Like, one of the fun things about like Northern Ontario, I have only lived in one province, so I can't really say. But the further north you get, the more Blue Jays you get, which is wild because they are bright blue. Yeah, and they live in the woods. And you're like, how is this possible?
When I lived in Brampton, I used to have one in my backyard.
You're like,
now there's 6 of them. They're the greatest. I love them. We have Cardinals as well, but they're not a very good baseball team. Because the Jays are great. The next one, the odds of The Mandalorian season 2 featuring Hoth. Will Hoth appear on season 2 of The Mandalorian?
See, I don't know like where they're gonna go with this.
Yeah,
because I didn't hate the jumping from planet to planet in the first large chunk of the first season. I want to go 75% because it's just like, let's go to Hoth. Why not? A little baby Kevin in a parka.
Little boy got his like the Han Solo jacket on even.
His size like doubles because he's like the little brother in Christmas Story.
That'd be awesome. I'm gonna go full Brock on it. I think, you know, they bring Tatooine and maybe they just do like a best of with the original trilogy for planets, because I think they announced it's gonna go 4 seasons, I believe.
Wow.
So you give us 3 seasons of original trilogy planets, and the last season it just takes place on Naboo, Kamino, Utapau. Oh, Brock's getting a message from his WGR. She's saying, "You up, boo?" So I'm gonna go.
It's from Daryl's sister, actually. And it does say "you up, boo." I'm like,
oh, you're married. Our final odd today: the odds of Mandalorian. Wait, well, I read the wrong 1 second. Here we go. Our final odd is the second odd that I have written. The odds of Rise of Skywalker being released early on Disney Plus. Are we about to get the Rise of Skywalker early on Disney Plus, Brock?
I mean, you made the classic point at the top of the show when we were talking about it. It's like, just do it. It makes sense. Release everything. But I'm curious on like, what is the business plan? Do they release the digital one first so that like they can make that little bit of money because you're like, I want it now? Or do they not care? Like, is it just sort of like, we'll do it like this, and then maybe over the years it'll just go straight to Disney Plus?
I think they're going to wait. Personally, I think they're going to wait for this and then the Blu-ray and whatever to come out, and then I think you got to give it at least a month after that. And I mean, so I think there's no rush on this one on their end because it just came out. It's brand new. Whereas where you're going to talk about it in the news is that's been out for a little while now. And I think also, like, you know, I just paid for it. A bunch of people just paid for this movie, you know, full price, which I never do.
Yeah.
And then you're going to put it on Disney Plus. You're going to really, I think, tick off a lot of people because of that. And for me personally, you know, if it happens, it happens. I mean, I was always going to get it anyway. But I think, you know, I think there has to be a time. I think at least a month. If this is still going strong in like 4 weeks, 4 weeks, then I think you can get away with putting on Disney Plus. But for now, so I'm gonna go 20. I think it's gonna come early still. But it's not going to be vastly early, so I'm going to go 61% on the early because I just think that this isn't going to go away anytime soon. But more people will be working from home, so they're going to try to utilize that as it goes on. So I'm thinking like maybe it's supposed to come out in July. Probably Disney Plus, I'd imagine, would be July or August. I'm going to bet you May or June now. And I could be wrong. It could be April, but I'm going to go those 2 months. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go low as well, 30%. I mean... Unless they just have a change of heart for some reason. But like, here's the thing: how many people have Disney Plus? So it's like,
well, the Frozen thing. What you're going to talk about? I keep saying that is they're hoping to get more subscribers, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're home for March break. You're home for for extended March break. Here's Frozen 2. Like Disney, whatever movies aren't on Disney Plus that they have the possibility to put on, throw them on right now.
Yeah.
Right now. Just toss them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, news?
Oh, yeah. News. Hollow news.
All right, there's no Aaron to sing it this week, so you got my beautiful voice. Hollow news. Da 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 da. Hollow news. I want to show your face while I'm singing it. Hollow.
I'm deciding to ignore what we're told.
My dog. I haven't shown you on screen. No one saw that. I just finished singing. My dog barked. All right. I'm muting my mic. Hollow news.
So, Hollow news. The news you need to know right now, as we've already said, there's been an early release of Rise of Skywalker digitally. So, if you want it, go get it. It is out right now, and it's got some juicy digital extras, what have you. As of right now, it's able to rent on Amazon, Vudu, Fandango now, probably Google Play for $20 or $25 for 4K UHD US, and I believe that's in US dollars. Maybe not. But in the same move, they are releasing Frozen 2 on Disney Plus. So if your kids love Frozen, it's on there as of March 15th. So right now, it is there right now. Go watch it. So yeah, that's pretty much it on that. If there's any new releases, we will let you know in the upcoming weeks. So last week, Anthony Daniels was on The View promoting for Rise of Skywalker. He dropped a few little tidbits about his character 3PO. If you remember when he first tweeted on his last shooting day on episode 9 that he was sad. He said today was 3PO's last on episode 9. He's sad, so am I. But we're so proud to have worked with such a lovely, talented casting crew led by J.J. Abrams and Kathy Kennedy. I'll miss everyone, but I'm glad to know that we've been making something exceptional together to share with the waiting world. So sort of saying this is the end of 3PO. But in this interview on The View, he revealed that after he spoke with J.J. Abrams on the set of the film, and Abrams wasn't as sure of the end of 3PO. He said he's not over. When he said to Abrams when we were filming, maybe it's time to put 3PO to sleep, to give him an end. And Abrams said, not on my watch. So check it out on The View. I believe you can see it on YouTube. He says these things. He's always a delightful interview. Anthony Daniels, what a gem. And since you're staying at home, why don't you exercise with Star Wars? The company Omnit has put out a series of Star Wars related exercising equipment. There's a Boba Fett, a Stormtrooper, and a Vader kettlebell, as well as a Death Star slam ball. And for those people that aren't trying to get swole, check out the Han in Carbonite yoga mat. This can all be purchased on omnit.com for reasonable prices, I suppose. I don't know. I try not to exercise if I don't have to. And this has been your Hollow News. Oh, and in final news, go to StarWars.com and check out the preview for our Star Wars issue number 4. We see Luke trying to explain what a lightsaber is to a bunch of Ugnaughts, and then also has a somewhat Force Force vision when he senses the lightsaber nearby that shows things in his past, as well as who currently may have the lightsaber. Exciting stuff. That issue comes out, I believe, in a few weeks. I cannot wait. And this has been your Hollow News.
Hollow News, you up, boo? Also, Galaxy of Adventure is returning with a new season.
Right.
That's going to be exciting. Can't wait for that. All right, top five. Top five. Today's top five. Top five Star Wars whatever on Disney Plus to binge while you are home, isolated during this weird movie that we're living in right now. Because this is not the real world. This is a movie. Who would have thought that we would ever be confined to our homes? Anyway, it's not been bad though. Getting a lot of writing done. Getting a lot of. I've built an arrow or a bullseye. I built a bullseye for archery and also for axe throwing, Brock. I have had a lot of time on my hands doing stuff you can only do in the country.
You're ready for when the world crumbles.
I'm ready. I'm gonna. Aaron and I will be out there with axes and bow and arrows and we've got you. Come now.
And then they have guns, and you're like, of course, guns.
Guns. Well, wait till and everyone else is attacking us with their toilet paper rolls. We will survive this. All right, top five things to watch Star Wars related on Disney Plus while you are in isolation. My number five, I'm going to suggest everybody sit back, relax, and watch this little movie called The Attack of the Clones. Because it is better than you remember. The dialogue is still stiff. If you can't get past that, then you have lost. But it is a great Star Wars film from start to finish. It actually throws the saga forward more than any other film in the 9-part saga. It opens so many doors, so many opportunities for the universe to grow and expand that I think if you can get past the dialogue and maybe even that the Droid Factory video game portion of the movie, you will see that it is probably, in terms of universe-wide, the strongest Star Wars film. Is it the best? Who cares? It's subjective. But I think if you could get past all those little the dialogue, whatever, stiff acting, whatever you want to call it, you will see that it is actually a hidden gem. Brock, you're number five.
Honorable. First of all, I was gonna try to put Ewok Caravan of Courage and
they're not on Disney Plus.
Battle of Endor, but yes, as James just said, they're not on Disney Plus. Most of my stuff is just strictly episodes of shows.
Well, in fairness, that's how it was written on the.
Yeah,
on the red. And I changed the rules.
Yeah, that's fine. But I will say honorable mention to Forces of Destiny, which just fantastic. So check that out. But my number five, new Clone Wars episode. There's 4 of them. That's at least 2 hours. So watch it, and then you're like, hey, who is Echo? Then you can go watch the Citadel episodes in season 3.
Yeah,
I think season 2.
Yeah, somewhere around there. My number 4 is around the same path as yours, but it's earlier on. It is just sit back and watch the Mortis arc of the Clone Wars. Just watch the Mortis arc, because every Star Wars fan talks about the Mortis arc and World Between Worlds and whatnot. And they're it's like, wow, Mortis. It's like, and average fans are just like, what? So if you haven't seen the Mortis arc, now is a perfect time for you to sit back and watch it, or tell somebody who hasn't seen it to sit back and watch it, or force your family members to watch it with you, because they're not going anywhere. Number 4, Brock.
My number 4. I apologize. It's hard to give these things titles. I should have just looked up the episode numbers to be more specific. But 5 goes crazy in season 6. That's about a 4 or 5 episode arc. It's interesting because it's sort of, I feel like it's going to work a little into season 7 a bit, because season 6 in general seems to be a lot of, especially with Ahsoka leaving in season 5, it's like there seems to be a unsuredness going on in this war. We're like, what's happening? But it's great because it's sort of like this could be, they come very close to almost figuring out like there's a scheme going on. It could unravel the Emperor's plan. It's just really good. The only thing bad about it is Tim Curry's the voice of the Emperor. Tim Curry's a wonderful person. As I said, I watched Clue earlier this week. But
he's not the Emperor.
Sorry.
No, like you couldn't get past that he's not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not being nitpicky like he's not the Emperor, he's the Chancellor. I mean, like his voice, as great as he is, he's not Ian McDermott, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. My number 3, if you can't talk anybody into watching the Mortis arc because they just don't care because cartoon Star Wars isn't for them, then you could trick them into watching the Darksaber stuff. All the Mandalore arcs and Darksaber arcs of the Clone Wars, because sure enough, they've watched The Mandalorian, and even if you've seen The Mandalorian and you're like, oh man, I can't remember much about the Darksaber, go back, watch those episodes of the Clone Wars. There's a few of them. Darth Maul's in it, and when there's Darth Maul, there's gold.
My number 3 is going to be. Again, I'm not entirely sure if I'm accurate on this, but basically the last half of the last season of Rebels, where we see the final showdown between Thrawn and Ezra, and then also sort of, I believe that's it. And then I think a little bit of like Maul finally facing against Obi-Wan, and then also the return of Ahsoka through the Star Bridge or whatever we call it. I can't remember. That stuff is really, really good, and it was a perfect execution of how, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this series is over.
Yeah.
How quickly they can suck you right in. I'm just trying to look it up now. Season 3, right? Oops, starting an episode. Oh no. Sorry, season 4. So yeah, check that out. That whole season is probably worth it, because you can probably watch it in half a day. Yeah. But anyways, that's my number 3.
My number 2 is the Darth Maul episodes and arc during Rebels season 3 and 4, with his ending with his showdown against Obi-Wan Kenobi. We see him on Dathomir. We have the seventh sister and fifth brother facing off against him. Kanan going blind. Spoilers. So much fun to be had there. Ahsoka, obviously. Vader appears in one of those. Just for me, those were some great, exciting episodes. Was it season 2, maybe?
I think that's season 2. Yeah. I think you're mixing a bunch of stuff together, but like.
Yeah. Anyway, look, there's a bunch of episodes with Maul. Just binge watch all of Rebels.
My number 2 is in a similar vein. Maul returns in Clone Wars, which spans over maybe 2 seasons. It's pretty easy to pick him out. It's, I believe, Maul. I think it's in season 3 where he first appears as Spider Legs, and then you want to watch what the Maul episodes in season 4 where he goes against Pre Vizsla. So yeah,
Jon Favreau.
And then of course in that is the Darksaber stuff.
Yeah, so you get all there. Basically, you just watch all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels, and we'll be back to normal, or new normal. And my number 1, Mandalorian episode 2, the egg episode called The Child. I freaking love the egg episode. Is it as good as episode 3? Probably not. Do I care? No. I love the egg episode so much. There's just something about it. I know it's small, but it also establishes the relationship between the child and it's actually a very important episode, because the child saves the Mandalorian, and he can't have his new signet because of that, because he didn't rescue the child. The child actually saved him, and it forms their bond, and it's really because of that episode that the events of episode 3 take place, right? How he needs to go back and rescue the child after he delivers it. So I'm going with the egg episode. Obviously, you can watch the entire Mandalorian in like 4 hours or something like that. Like, it's a great one. I watched it all with didn't even plan it. I've watched it all twice through since its first release. So I've seen the entire series 3 times. I really like it, but this episode, there's just something about it personally that I'm just really, really drawn to.
I could argue that we could do a watch through.
We should.
We cut it up into like 3 parts or something.
Yeah, we should. If you guys want to watch The Mandalorian with us, let's do it.
Yeah. My number 1 was James' number 4, Mortis, because it's just one of the series of episodes that's just like, oh, you need to watch this. It's widely talked about. So, is it? I don't. Well, I was trying to think about this because I think I've mentioned I've listened to a podcast called Newcomers where two comedians watch Star Wars for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. They're just about to do Revenge of the Sith, I think, and I don't see them watching any of the episodes of the show. But I was like, what would be the ideal episodes of Clone Wars to watch for someone? And I don't know what to choose.
I would say Mortis because it's so trippy. Like, could you just like it's like, what is happening?
Yeah,
but it's also like what, partway through a series already. So even though you know Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, you don't really know them, I guess.
But that's the thing, you wouldn't really know Ahsoka because if you're only watching those episodes, I guess maybe the movie would be ideal just so you know who Ahsoka is.
Yeah. And
maybe that, or like the movie, and then maybe like I don't know. I had something in my head. I think if you watch something in Rebels, though, definitely the episode of Obi-Wan versus Maul.
Yes,
because it's sort of an isolated episode. Plus, it gives Solo a little bit more. Or maybe watch like a certain selection of Darth Maul coming back to life or being alive this whole time, just to explain how Solo is possible. I don't know.
Just watch all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't figure it out.
Oh God.
There's so much Star Wars, so much good Star Wars, so much stuff for you to watch and enjoy during this crazy time we're living in. We hope everybody stays safe out there, stay healthy, look after everybody as much as you can. We will be here with you every day that you are in isolation to help you get through those days. Hopefully we are entertaining. But if news breaks on it, we will inform you as best we can.
Yeah.
But we're not the news, so we can't make any real promises like that, you know. Yeah. It is what it is. Also, guys, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and I think some other stuff as well. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, you could support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast, where we have exclusive content and early access to all shows with the exception of the live stuff. We can't give the live stuff early to Patreon. We just don't have that capability yet. But Brock is working on it.
What?
He's not working on it. And that's because, well, before we get to that, thank you everybody for watching, liking, subscribing, sticking with us, supporting us. It really means a lot to us. Anything else you want to say, Brock?
James, I was always scum.
Rebel scum?
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.